many an anime has had a poor implementation into a live adaptation into a movie. But today we're going to be talking about the latest, in particular, Alita Battle Angel. This is a spoiler cast. And joining with me on this episode of Media on Demand, our resident weeaboo, Tashana Gillies.
That is me. Hello. Hi.
How's the...
Watashi no name wa Tashana desu. Name wa nan desu ka?
That's for all you Japanese viewers out there.
All you fellow anime fans that know Japanese because you watched anime.
Hajimemashite. Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
So, as you could tell from the start, today we are going to be talking about Alita Battle Angel. This is a spoiler cast for the first 15 minutes. These are for the people who are listening on the recording, so the audio or video recording. The first 15 minutes of it is going to be spoiler-free. And then, after that, we're going to go right into spoilers and our impressions. We're going to compare about examples to other anime adaptations and the like.
Excellent.
Before we get too far into it, I'd just like to say that this podcast is brought to you by Scrambled Pixels. We'll talk about more of them later. I want to get started on our impressions of the movie. So a resounding thumbs up from you or a resounding thumbs down?
I thumbs up it. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it.
That's good. So is there anything in particular, non-spoilery, that you liked about it that made you feel like it was a good film altogether? Or?
Well, something very different about it is it was very specifically aimed to teenage girls, which doesn't happen very much in big budget movies, and especially, there aren't many big budget anime movies made, and it's not the best attempt at like a teenage girl you can relate to this, but they tried, and I really appreciated it, and I really liked it.
Yeah, so your overall impression is pretty much it was good.
It was good. It was badass. She's a badass bitch.
Now, that was something I definitely appreciated, is that they didn't shy away from the anime of its root, its origins.
Yeah.
Another thing that I thoroughly enjoyed about it is that it actually makes me want to go see the original source material, the original anime itself.
Yeah, Battle Angel. Alita.
Exactly. Yeah.
That James Cameron directed it, produced it. He actually got the rights to Battle Angel Alita in the 90s, and he's been working on making a movie for 3 decades now.
So you mean Avatar was made so he could save up money for this film?
Well, he originally half made this film with the same technology that he made Avatar with.
So that's why she looks a little bit blue, that's why.
Yeah, that's why she's slightly blue. But yeah, now there's obviously better technology, so it's even better than Avatar. Avatar's like that fucking everyone's favourite movie, but like, can you quote one line from it or like name more than 3? Yeah, like no one even remembers it, but what was like the biggest grossing movie ever.
Exactly. It was purely done for the CGI, and even then, like, not to say that the CGI was terrible or anything in Avatar, but just looking back at it, you can kind of see the seams. Like, it was revolutionary for its time.
Yeah.
But that's all that movie was for that CGI. Whereas Alita definitely, it has that rather, I would say, impressive CGI.
Yeah, very revolutionary, very first of its kind.
Yeah, like you can appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
And the best part about it with the CGI is that it didn't shy away from it. It went wholeheartedly into it.
It really, people deadpan were like swinging around rocket-filled Warhammer axes and being like, this is just a Warhammer axe, man. Like,
exactly.
I carry this around with me every day.
It was full on, like, embraced the anime.
Yeah.
And that's what I think made this film special as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Is that it embraces that that fun, quirky side of anime that's like kind of unrealistic, but based on reality.
And well, they really went for it. And of course, when you really wholeheartedly go for it, you're going to miss sometimes, but sometimes you're going to land it and it's epic. So, you know, it's not a flawless film by any means. There's some very clunky acting and sometimes some not so impressive CGI. But for the most part, like, it never took me out of it. I was never like so offended by anything that I couldn't enjoy the movie.
What about any like tropes or anything like any like anime tropes or even mainstream media tropes?
Well, a lot of Alita Battle Angel is subversive in its tropes, so they kind of make fun of a lot of tropes that happen a lot in manga and anime. So the ghost just knocked on the door. So, you know, they, like our friend Ethan, who we saw it with, said at first he thought maybe they were going to go with that born sexy yesterday trope where, like, it's just this uber hot girl that has no memory, so this guy can just swoop her off her feet because she's got no memory of anything better, so she just thinks she's living life the best she is. But, you know, it pulls a fast one on you, and that's not really what's going on. And
yeah, there's more to it than that, and that's what I was kind of afraid. But going through, not to get too spoilery on it, but it definitely doesn't subtract itself to it, to that trope, and it very much does come under some really good
there's expect a few twists and turns and surprises and not where you thought this was heading moments.
Exactly. And don't be too drawn out by the special effects as well, because there's even in some parts they use practical effects as well, which I very much liked. In areas where you could use practical effects, like some of the vehicles, you could definitely tell. Like there's probably some CGI on it, like with all movies, especially with a big budget film like this. But you can see that like they've actually built that vehicle. They've actually made it running and just drive it along the set.
a lot of the very cyberpunk extra, like Mad Max neon props were practical effects, and you could see, and it really added to it. Added some believability when, you know, half of the characters are CGI, so it balanced it out pretty well.
Exactly. And comparing this to other anime to live action adaptations, you would consider this a very successful attempt.
Yeah, it's probably one of the first actually decent anime to live action adaptations that they've probably ever made. I mean, they're all so notorious for being the worst movies. Like
we're looking at you, Death Note,
and Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh God! Don't bring that nightmare up.
Yeah, they're just so renowned for being awful because either the director doesn't lean in and rely on the source material and do something true to the original source, and they try and make it like too realistic or tone it down, and everyone hates that, or it just looks ridiculous and no one can take it seriously because they lean too far into it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they definitely did a very good medium ground where, you know, like obviously it's set in like 300 years from now or even more.
I think it's 400 to 500 years.
Yeah. So like, and they've completely like reshaped the whole landscape of Earth, but you know, it's still believable. You're not just like, wow, this is taking place on a foreign planet that I can't believe this happens.
Yeah, it's sort of like the way that it's been set up is definitely that you're made to believe that this is far in the future and how far humanity itself has come into that.
Yeah.
So out of 10, what would you rate this film?
I mean, if I'm looking at it from a very analytical point of view with no like personal bias, just because I personally love like hot chicks beating up dudes, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. But like for me, I'd probably say it's like at least a 9 because I've watched it again and again.
Yeah, see, my score, I'd definitely score it around about the 7.9 or 8 because the story itself, they managed to, from what I've heard, they've adapted it rather well. There is a bit of sequel building as well, but it's not too in your face.
Yeah.
You kind of only see it when you finish the film.
Yeah.
And realize that, you know, afterwards that like there's a way that this world can be developed upon more.
Oh yeah.
And they're not quite done with that world.
Yeah, they did a very good job world building. It makes you curious about parts of the world that you don't get to see in the movie, and you want to see more characters you want to see more of. Exactly,
yeah. And the way that like the investment they've put into it, you definitely know that they want to put a sequel onto it. So the fact that they've gotten such high regard for it.
Yeah, the reviews have been pretty over the board well received.
I don't think the box office has come in just yet.
Yeah.
But I might bring it up halfway through here and see if I can bring any numbers up.
Yeah. So for reference, we saw it.
So this is being recorded on Monday and it comes out on a Tuesday. We saw it on Saturday night. So this is the weekend of Valentine's Day.
Yeah. We saw it like 2 days ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's still a bit fresh in our minds.
Yeah, and I'd already seen it as well. I saw it opening day, so I've seen
that's
it
right.
twice.
You've seen it twice. So I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much our spoiler-free impressions of it. For those that are listening and definitely want to go see the film, definitely pause it here. Come back to us once you've watched the film, or if you're watching the YouTube videos, go see this in the cinemas, then come back. If you don't give two shits or you've already seen the film, stay on the line as we get into spoilers.
Spoilers, all right.
So my first thing is I'm actually really keen to see what Edward Norton's going to be.
Yeah.
So like Edward Norton being the main baddie.
Yeah.
What was his name again? Nova? Yeah.
Nova. And so he's sort of introduced 3/4 of the way through the film. You know, you sort of see him briefly in the first like half. I'm pretty sure, it must have been Ethan who'd left like the first time we were introduced to him, and I was like, "Damn you, Ethan! Like that was an important part."
Yeah, I think it was when she's getting the flashback when she was battling with her friend, and they Nova comes up and they're like, "You see him? We're going to fight," and then Ethan's not there. I was like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, like that was probably kind of important.
Could you tell that it was Edward Norton when you first saw that?
No. So even when you sent the cast list earlier, I was sort of looking at it. I was like, who the fuck did he play? Like, I don't remember him at all.
Yeah. See, I got excited when I saw it at the end and he takes the glasses off.
Yeah.
It's Edward Norton. Because I thoroughly enjoy Edward Norton. He's one of my favorite actors. I love Fight Club. Even when I knew the twist and I rewatched the movie, I was watching it thinking like, how the fuck are they going to pull this twist off? And then they pointed out, I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Edward Norton's he's a brilliant actor. He's going to play the villain wonderfully.
Yeah.
He can play comically bad guys.
Yeah. I just adore the character design. I just think it's so over the top geeky, like not at all scary, but like, you know, he's so villainous that you're still scared of him.
And those glasses are very cyberpunk.
Yeah. They're like so futuristic.
Like their camera lenses inside those things.
Yeah.
The ability also to just like take over people and use them as his avatar,
his puppets,
per se, basically. Yeah. That was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So that's one of the castings that I really appreciated. I also appreciated, I'll bring him back up here. He's a sort of semi-antagonist. Where is he? Ed Screen's character, Zapan. I actually really appreciated his character in this. It kind of added a bit of dynamic to it.
Yeah.
Of like just a guy doing the job just for the money, basically. And then going through and you meet some of the other characters, like the dog man. He's got to be one of our favorite characters. Yeah, with the hellhounds.
Yeah. Well, with the Zapan, he did really well, I think, considering he had the unfortunate job of delivering so much expositional dialogue. Like half of the time he was speaking to a character, it was just like letting the audience know what was happening and like my sword and like all of this his exposition. But he delivered it well enough, and I really liked his character design where he was pretty much completely a cyborg except for like his pretty boy human face. I really appreciate that. And obviously he's a hottie hot, so of course they're going to put his face in it.
Yeah, exactly. And like just the way that they did that CGI, like the body obviously seemed a little bit uncanny valley.
Yeah.
But I think the way that they did it was they definitely like, I don't know, they must have left like his natural face in because it did look like his natural face was there, not like Alita that looked very uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Not to say that Alita's face looked terrible. I actually thought it was rather decent.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like, you know, obviously sometimes you go like, yikes. But
Yeah.
like sometimes it looked really good. You could tell the scenes where they'd put in more effort and scenes where maybe they had a little less time and just sort of tried to speed it up a bit.
Exactly, and that's CGI
Yeah,
for you.
that's
That's a
just
big
it.
budget CGI. You're gonna have some of those moments where it doesn't seem right because you're like,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like it's believable, but that's not what would happen in real
Yeah.
life. So yeah,
I also really enjoyed that there was like, you know, it's called Alita Battle Angel. You expect there to be, you know, some battling. I enjoyed that when there was action scenes, they didn't get boring. Like, they didn't feel like they went for too long. They were interesting. I wasn't like, I'm notoriously bad for just zoning the hell out and like fight scenes unless they're like excessively gory. And like for the most part, you know, I was interested. They kept my attention. The deaths were like kind of awesomely gruesome. Not like too bad if you're a huge like scared of blood or not super into gore. It wasn't so like gratuitous that you wouldn't enjoy it.
well, because this film is rated PG-13.
Yeah.
Which in Australia we have basically a similar rating, PG, and for the amount of like choreographed battles and stuff in that, because there's not actually that much blood, you can get away with a lot of that. And
she was slicing people in half.
exactly, and they used their one F word in there too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
What did she say? Like, fuck your something when she like stabbed his eye.
so something like that. Yeah, she like crams her hand into
Yeah.
the waist there, basically. So another brilliant casting on there has got to be my personal favorite of the cast, Christoph Waltz, and his character dynamic with Alita, and the character building as well.
Yeah.
From the, you know, this father who misses his daughter, finding someone that like can kind of resemble it and builds her up and almost treats her like that pretty much, to accepting that she's no princess.
Yeah.
She's an angel, a battle angel.
Yeah.
So that
Berserker.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, she's got a heart that that is designed for battle.
Yeah.
And so he can't just pussyfoot her around.
Yeah.
He has to let her do what she's designed to do.
Yeah, she's not the same person that his crippled daughter was. Like, it's fairly different. Yeah, he was brilliant. And, like, the movie was so good with its twists and turns. It wasn't so predictable. Like, early on in the movie, they hinted for a minute that maybe he was a potential bad guy. And I believed it the first time I saw it. I was like, wow, like, this guy that we've trusted so far that built Alita has he has, what am I trying to say? He has, like, ulterior motives. He's got, like, something else in the works. And then, you know, they flipped it around on you like they do 10 billion times in this movie. You think it's going to end, like, 1 billion times, and then it ends on a not really an ending.
Yeah, it's basically like a semi sequel building.
Yeah.
What could potentially have been an end credits scene almost.
Yeah. And then, especially, I was watching the trailers after seeing the movie, and they really set it up to be very focused on that motorball game, which is like the sports ball. It's like, what's it called? Like rollerblading.
Yeah, I think it's just called motorball.
Yeah, but it's like derby, basically, where it's like super violent derby.
Yeah, it's got a lot of that, like a lot of that roller derby built behind it.
Yeah.
And that kind of feel.
And uber violent, like super violent. And you think the whole movie's going to be about her, like, being one of the best of those, but they really, like, skip past all of her playing it.
Yeah, and I think that I'm kind of like it because in some of these films they make that whole sport like this big. They've essentially make the teen movie a sport movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not personally putting them down. I just don't really like sports movies.
Yeah.
Some of them are very feel good, like Rocky. Rocky's probably one of the best sports movies.
Sure,
But when it sometimes when it comes to like a teen movie, in which this case they kind of made it a teen movie.
Yeah.
Because they took away a lot of the nudity from it.
Yeah.
And they made it a lot more like robotic gruesome, not human gruesome.
Yeah.
And so adding that sport kind of made me a little bit like, is it gonna hold it back? But it's not. It's actually it's kind of set up as like this piece of lore building instead. And they don't dwell on the rules too much. They just basically say there's a ball, there's a hoop, people kill each other, you just go for it.
Yeah. And what is it? Ultimate Champion gets to go to Zolom, which is the floating rich people in the sky land that we wonder about the whole movie, what it looks like. All the characters want to go there. That's a lot of characters' main drive is they're doing what they're doing to get to Zolom.
Zolom, yeah.
Yeah, Zolom.
Exactly. And that's also setting up that precedent of, oh, this place must be really good in order for people
really
to want to go. And then, there's only the ultimate champion can go up.
Yeah.
And it kind of builds up that extra motivation, which by the end of the film is our protagonist's drive.
Yeah, well, what I was saying earlier about how they tried really hard to make it like a teen film. Like, you know, the main character is obviously a young girl. We think somewhere between like, it's Japanese, so she could be like 15 to 25, who knows?
Especially at the beginning, where there's always that trope in like anime where they're 800 years old, but they're in the body of a 13-year-old. So it's still cool. It's all good.
Yeah.
But
but they're like, what are teenage girls like? Cute boys and chocolate, puppies.
They had to do the chocolate angle, which is that was a little bit cheesy, but it adds to the story. And it gives the character motivation, especially with the love interest.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I appreciate that they killed him off or not. Not because I necessarily wanted him to stick around, but because I don't know if I wanted the love interest in the first place.
Yeah.
I did kind of love that she he didn't, it's not like he knew everything, like Born Sexy Yesterday.
Yeah.
But he also wasn't exactly 100% useless.
Yeah.
So like he's obviously he's got a dark backstory.
Yeah,
it's like
he's a bad boy.
Yeah, so it's like
he rides a motorbike.
Ooh,
wears a leather jacket. Oh.
Exactly. It's like that extra touch to like draw teenage girls in, basically.
And I mean, to be honest, I can't remember his real name, but Hugo, the character, out of all like the main characters, I probably reckon he was the one that was like the worst, to be honest. Like his acting wasn't that great, which, you know, I feel bad for him because obviously he's a young person trying to act to whatever she was wearing. And like towards the end when he had like a cyborg body, that looked hideous. Like they really just sort of chucked that one together.
But I think also onto that, he wasn't necessarily a sort of motivator. He was a bit more of the eye candy, which usually in a lot of these anime films you get the female character is the eye candy, but in this case we're getting a bit on the opposite side.
Hugo.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like with the whole things, I just kind of was pretty frustrated that they killed him off at that point because they'd just gone through that whole debacle of saving his life like 15 minutes earlier, and then she like leaves to go do something really important, and then he gets himself in this situation and gets himself killed again. Because I mean, they'd just given him like a whole robot body, which someone else could have used that robot body.
Exactly.
Like that's so rude of him to just go and get himself killed immediately after Dr. Ito just put him in that. I mean, yeah, I don't feel really either which way about them killing him off. I wasn't super attached to him.
Yeah, he wasn't exactly my favorite character. And to be honest, when he did pop up, I was kind of hoping that there would be some sort of not redemption arc, but the whole like she finds out he's been doing that, and so she kind of learns, because the whole point, one point in the film is that he tells her don't trust everyone. Yeah, and so it would have actually been really good if by the end of it, she finds out about him, this about him, and kind of and learns like. Oh, that's what you meant. That's what you meant by don't trust everyone.
Yeah, don't just do things for people.
Exactly.
Like, people aren't always good. Which, I mean, it also shows, like, good people will do bad things to get what they think they need to do done.
Alita is definitely not like an innocent party, and that she was killing people left, right, and center pretty much.
Yeah, but like she's got a pure human heart. Like she's chaotic good.
A pure uranium fueled heart.
Technology heart that no one knows how to use.
Pretty much.
What else?
But before we go on, I will read a word from our sponsors.
Of course.
I've just got to bring the sponsor read up. I should have it saved on my phone by now.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. I'm just bringing it up. Okay, and back to it. Scramble Pixels is our podcast for today. Our podcast. Scramble Pixels is our podcast. They are podcasting our sponsor. Scramble Pixels is our sponsor today, and Scramble Pixels is a podcast production house that supplies the equipment, space, and technical know-how that goes into producing your own podcast. Scramble Pixels are on the hunt for Brisbane people that want the quick and easy way to get their podcast off the ground and into the airwaves. Scramble Pixels offers affordable production packages, a Twitch network with a shared live audience. Sure, you could produce your own show, but at the cost of time that could be spent fine-tuning your podcast character. You can't deliver a relatable character to your audience if you're checking cameras and audio levels. And it's especially for this podcast, we have help from Scramble Pixels when we get it set up and we do all of that. And it's the same with the Kate's Mail Service podcast, which you can catch both of us on 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Times on twitch.tv/Scramble Pixels. Friday, 7 p.m.
Not 7 p.m. every night.
Friday, 7 p.m. Scramble Pixels already records, edits, and has the Scramble Pixel Network streaming weekly podcasts to an audience that is thirsty for more. If anyone was watching just before, about an hour and a half ago, we had The Hidden Language of Cosplay, hosted by Bree Perryman. She's one of our lovely friends and a member of the Scramble Pixel Network who managed to get her podcast off the ground. So you too can as well. If you're after a service that takes the hassle out of the boring technical side of the podcast production, then Scramble Pixels is for you. For any more information, go to scramblepixels.com/join the network and get your podcast in people's ears.
Hell yeah. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to bring up, I've got the box office for Alita Battle Angel.
All right.
So its production budget was $170 million. Relatively low for the amount of CGI that was actually in this film. I was actually really surprised. I was expecting around over $200 million.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Especially like because your Marvel films are getting up to that high production budget. But to look at it so far, its weekly box office, we go by worldwide figures here on Media and Demand. So the total gross box office is just over 130 million.
Okay, so it's getting there.
Yeah, so it obviously it hasn't made it on the first weekend, but it is just the first weekend. And obviously with a film such as this that is getting good word of mouth, that obviously maybe not everyone can go see it opening weekend. You'll get some more of the teenage crowd basically, or more of the little girls coming in to watch the film. Yeah. Because, a lot more word of mouth comes out and people realize, oh, it's PG-13. Okay, I'll go see it with my daughters.
Yeah. Well, for sure, I don't think the advertising was that good for it. Like, I think they really advertised to a weird niche that aren't going to be the actual viewers of this movie. Like,
I feel like
sports, cyberpunk watchers. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the advertisement as well started a bit early.
Yeah.
And kind of spiked.
Yeah, I feel like I heard about this movie like a long time ago. It
was a good 2 years ago where I think like word started coming out of it.
Yeah.
And I remember not seeing anything for a long time for it until finding out that it came out.
Yeah. And well, obviously it's getting pretty good reviews, so a lot of people will probably go catch it that they weren't necessarily going to watch it earlier. But again, it's getting good reviews, so people are going to go out of their way to go see it. Yeah, so
a movie like this definitely works off word of mouth. And especially hopefully from us, you guys definitely hear it and recommend us to go watch it.
Yeah, well,
That's probably for the spoiler-free crowd.
yeah, well, and obviously it hasn't bombed or anything, so that's good.
To put it into comparison with another anime movie, my absolute least favorite, Dragon Ball Evolution, it made total lifetime box office of just over 57 million.
Shit.
It doesn't even have the production budget on here.
That sucks for them.
By the CGI on that, you'd say it was made with $10,000. But yeah, I'm just incredibly sad about Dragon Ball Evolution. And the fact that there had been talks of doing a live action Dragon Ball Z, I was kind of a little bit like,
please don't.
Maybe not.
Yeah, well, they're attempting a lot of live action things that are very risque.
Yeah, especially on the anime front, especially like Death Note. Like we recently watched that. You're an avid fan of the anime.
Yeah, I watched it years ago.
Yeah, and I have never seen the anime, and watching that movie made me think maybe I don't want to watch the anime, but clearly they've definitely changed the story way too much.
They're literally two different stories with different characters, like that share names but zero personality traits. Like you don't even understand what they were thinking. Like
yeah, because Kira means light in Russian.
Of course, like everyone knows
100%.
that, and that's why he picked it, because he was I'm not just gonna go by light. I'm gonna go by light. Like exactly. I'm being a secret, so I'm just gonna use my own name. Like. So ridiculous.
Yeah, because like even the premise of it, I was just like, "What the hell are you doing? You're plastering your name out on crimes. You're not even there.
Yeah.
If you literally just write the thing down, don't mention anything about a name or anything, they're gonna die. They'll assume it's an accident. They'll probably put it on someone else. Boom, you're done.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about shit.
Yeah.
But nah, stupid teenagers have to do stupid things.
Yeah, he's dumb.
Yeah, and then Willem Dafoe scaring the hell out of us.
Yeah, he's so
He's basically
terrifying.
just Green Goblin again.
But like Ryuk isn't that like he's a spooky looking guy, all of the Shinigami are, but like for the most part they're just kind of regular dudes, like a bit cheeky.
He's sort of less Green Goblin, more Joker.
Yeah, more Joker, like, and like not necessarily evil in any way. Like they're just like here to watch what happens. They're not, and like it's a Shinigami rule to not influence what happens, like not tell people who has the Death Note, or like tell the Death Note owner if people know who owns the Death Note. Like they don't do nothing. Like they just sit back and watch. Yeah. They don't like in the movie. He's like, "Ooh, write his name. Like see what happens." Like.
He's very much like over the shoulder, like the little demon on the shoulder.
It's just like, what the fuck? Anyway.
And that's an example of basically like a wrong way to do an adaptation. And looking
Netflix.
And looking at the way that Alita Battle Angel has gone, it looks like that's actually a really good way. Is that it's leaned a bit more into its anime roots, not so much that it's not believable, but enough to make you think that okay, in this world that's realistic. A one giant wheeled motorbike, I could believe it.
And just like Ito just being like, yeah, that's a hunter warrior, my dude. Like, and you're just like, all right,
that's
it's a hunter
we don't
warrior.
Have cops, dude.
I get it. Cool. Like, sick.
And the name itself is a little bit cheesy, Hunter Warrior. But obviously, like, what are they going to call them? Like, contracted police?
Yeah.
Like that's boring. It's an anime world. You got to call them, like, the correct name.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so a lot of that world building, it's well done, especially for this type of film.
Jessica Connolly.
Jennifer Connolly.
Jennifer Connolly. I hate her eyebrows. They distract me so much whenever she's on screen. In this movie, she had a little purple triangle dot that also I couldn't stop staring at.
Yes.
Which apparently is obviously like the mark of Zolom or whatever, and people from there have them. And Dr. Ito removed his own or whatever. But like... And also, did they say that they got kicked out of Zolom because their daughter was like paraplegic?
Handicapped, yeah.
That doesn't seem like a very nice place to be.
Not really, no.
And she's just like trying her absolute best to get back up there.
Yeah.
Like,
no wonder Dr. Ito doesn't want to go back up.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you? Jennifer Connelly's a bit of a weird one because it's just like she's supposed to be this really attractive actress and kind of like businesswoman in the movie, but
she's kind of old.
also my personal reasons why she kind of looks like my mum.
Yeah, she does look a lot like your mum.
So I'm like, it's like to me personally,
Her just
I
walking
look
around
at her,
in lingerie.
she's got the same name as my mum,
Yeah.
for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I don't know if I can go along with that.
Yeah. I mean, her character, I am going to make an assumption that it's got a lot more of her character in the anime, because in the movie, her motivations and her thought processes just sort of like change willy-nilly, and it's not really explained. You've just kind of got to like be like, all right, that's what she did, even though that's not what her character would have done
Well,
earlier.
she was dead by the end of it, wasn't she?
Yeah, well, she got sent to Zolom, which is a very gruesome twist that they showed.
Yeah.
Because throughout the movie, they're saying, oh, you know, you can get up to the up there if you win Motorball or whatever, but also like there's some dodgy ways, like people will sneak you up there, you can buy your way up, and basically they reveal at the end that they kill these people and just send like their organs and their eyes and brain
Still
and
alive.
heart. Yeah, it's still alive. They just dissect them and send all their body parts up to be like examined and studied.
Yeah,
Just-
and it's pretty freaky. It is
Yeah.
pretty freaky. But playing opposite Jennifer Connelly has got to be one of the most amazing actors of 2018 and 2019 so far. Mahershala Ali. I first saw him in the Luke Cage Netflix TV series, playing as Cottonmouth, and he did an amazing job in that. Got killed off way too early.
Yeah.
Way too early in that. But in this film, definitely plays an amazing role. He does, I'd say probably about 15% of his screen time, he's a puppet,
Yeah.
but he still commands a on-screen presence.
Yeah.
That actor is just amazing at
Yeah,
doing.
for
And
sure.
especially coming off the back of Green Book,
Yeah.
doing that amazing job in that, and coming onto this, like the two movies are very contrasted. You know, Green Book being this Oscar, what's it
Oscar
called? Oscar
darling.
pandering,
Yeah.
Oscar darling. And then contrasting it to this anime remake.
Which the Oscars would sneer at.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
They won't even look at a Marvel film.
Yeah.
We've only, like, DC's only just gotten like 2 Oscars
Yeah,
in
Black
the past
Panther.
10 or 15 years. And
Yeah.
Black Panther's only just been the one to crack it
Yeah,
with a nomination.
which people would have been so furious if if Black Panther didn't get in there. Like,
Yeah,
people were
exactly.
already being like, it better be in
100%.
there.
They were like, look, we understand if you don't want Avengers Infinity War, but at least Black Panther. And
Yeah.
Mahershala is an amazing actor.
Yeah.
And his portrayal in this was
It was pretty
really good.
sexy too. He had some suave suits.
Yeah, he was the businessman, and he commanded respect every
Yeah.
time that he stepped on screen.
Well, like he said, he ruled in hell instead of serving in heaven. So
Exactly.
he was the big bad boss of Iron City.
Exactly, and he just plays that really well. Yeah. Now we'll move on to the last cast member, Rosa Salazar as Alita herself. Minusing out any CGI or anything like that, do you think that she did an amazing job at it or a terrible job?
I think she did an amazing job at it, especially seeing as I don't really know her from anything else. She's not a
I have
super
seen
well-known
her.
actor.
She's in Bird Box, but I actually recognize her from Maze Runner 2.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I saw the second one.
See, Maze Runner was actually that was another incredible series. It was like a book to movie adaptation where it was surprisingly really good. Like when I watched it, I was just like, it's another Hunger Games, whatever.
Yeah, it just
But
came a little too late. If it had come before Hunger Games, it probably would have picked up a bit more traction, maybe.
It would have been a lot better, considering
Yeah.
that I've watched both Hunger Games and Maze Runner, and I 100% prefer Maze Runner, even though Maze Runner itself has zombies.
Yeah.
I'm not a big zombie fan,
Yeah.
but Maze Runner is like an amazing film.
Yeah, right.
And so she plays one of the kids, basically,
Yeah.
that they find once they leave the maze.
Yeah.
I think it's the Scorch Trials.
Yeah.
She plays one of the people that they find outside of the maze and basically help out, and she helps out them. So, in Alita, I feel like a lot of her mannerisms she did really well. Because from what I know of the production of it, she was there.
Yeah.
They did the whole like Andy Serkis treatment on her face, basically,
Yeah.
and got all that set up, and then all of her mannerisms were all basically just copied from her acting it out.
Yeah.
So, just the transformation on the face as well. Like I said, still a bit uncanny valley.
Yeah.
But that's what you expect from this type of movie.
And they didn't aim to make her look human. She was obviously an orm, whatever.
Yeah.
So she looked a little inhuman because she was from Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just hard to look at for like the first 5 minutes, and then you completely get used to it. And
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
notice it after that.
Exactly. And especially contrasting it against like some of the other characters that were from it like made more sense basically of the construction of the way that her face is to made sense on the evolutionary aspect, because all the others are like that. They're like thin-bodied, slightly tall, bigger eyes, bigger brain sort of thing. So
the only thing that bothered me actually that I noticed a couple times during the movie was her hair, where the hair animation just was like slightly off, and like it reminded me of like Brave when that movie came out. Did you see that?
I never saw Brave.
That was just one of those movies, same with Moana, where like they had that curly hair and they must have just spent like hours and hours and hours rendering like a billion little individual hairs.
But no hair animation beats Shrek.
Yeah, of course, sure. But yeah, like they clearly didn't put, I mean, I'm not going to say like they clearly didn't put any time into it, but they put less effort.
Yeah.
They've rented like individual pores on her face. Like you could see very close up sometimes, but her hair was a bit iffy sometimes.
Yeah. But I overall, I think that the building up of the character through CGI, through Rose's acting, all together is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I also appreciate that the armor that Dr. Ido puts on her before her first derby is the same armor from the anime.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Yeah. And he's like, no, you've got to put on this armor. This is the only body. I can't repair you.
Yeah, it's so adorable. But that is such a trope as well, like the science anime dad. Like, they're all science anime dads. Like, he's such a generic character that they gave, like, a really cool, interesting twist to.
That overprotective dad as well.
Yeah, like...
which every teenage girl will relate to as well, so...
just like a smart, sciencey, like overprotective dad that just doesn't understand teenage girls. Like he just doesn't know what to do with her.
Yeah, exactly. He's too methodical thinker. It's too much of
girls are just
analyst.
Crazy. Like she's a wild one.
That doesn't make scientific sense. What?
Just goes into bars and starts bar fights, and he's like, Alita, no, stop it.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Well, what did you think of Rawushka, whatever his name was, Gruishka, the big buff villain that kept coming back?
Which I think is played... I can't work out who played him. But I didn't think it was too bad. It is definitely very CGI. You could easily tell it was CGI, him building up the body. But the backstory for like the chain fingers, like I'm a big Scorpion fan from Mortal Kombat, so obviously that type of weapon to me, I'm like, fuck yes.
Well, something I noticed that I didn't notice the first time, I don't know if you noticed it or not, was the chain fingers, that because he got that upgrade to like these chain fingers, but the scene previously Hugo had stolen those for like Nova or whatever. And then, like, in the bar scene, you see him, like, whip out his, like, brand new chain fingers, and it flicks to Hugo, and he's like, fuck, like, I stole that, and now he's gonna, like, kill my girlfriend with them.
Exactly, yeah.
And that was, like, a moment of him being like, shit, like, I need to get out of this.
One positive character motivation to a not-so-great character itself in the film.
Well, to be honest, and with that Gruishka character... I was kind of sick of him by the end, and I kind of had like a Snoke moment because he's like our main, like she gets fucked up by him like halfway throughout the movie. He's like, Bane in Dark Knight, like he like fucks her up.
Yeah.
And he's like all this terrifying like big bad battle guy, and then at the end she kind of like Snokes him and just like cuts him in
jams
half.
fist.
No, she cut him in half at the very end.
At the very end. Yeah. Sorry, I was still thinking of the moment where she like jams her fist into
that was
the
cool.
eyeball. Yeah, that was actually really cool.
But yeah, when it came like back the third time, and I was just like, oh, really, this guy again? And then she just like killed him, and then I was kind of frustrated because I was kind of like, oh, we had to sit through like all of that, all of his big mouth talk, and she just like slices him at the end and he's dead, and like that's that.
Yeah, exactly.
But also at the same time, I did like it because it really showed how like fully she'd come into herself, that he literally wasn't even a problem anymore, that she was just like fully back to being a badass battle bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And she was just like, yeah, whatever, shut up, dude. Like, I'm busy right now. I'm talking. Like,
Plus, we knew as soon as we saw that second body that first one was not going to last.
Yeah.
It was going to get torn to shreds in that somehow.
yeah.
But yeah, what do you think of the design of the costumes? The costume design overall, do you think it was an awesome thing to put together?
Yeah, I really liked it. It's very much something that's my aesthetic. Like, I love anime where they go. It sort of reminded me almost of Ghost in a Shell, where it's like very futuristic, but also like modern-ish.
See, that's another also anime to live action adaptation where people have said that it wasn't exactly
I think people said it was okay. Like, it wasn't the worst thing they'd ever seen, but it wasn't by any means good.
I think it just had a lot of uproar because Scarlett Johansson herself played a character which possibly
Asian.
should have gone to an Asian character.
Yeah.
They tried to put it to like a whole she's in a robotic body. She's got an Asian mind, but like she's put in a robotic body, and it's like still.
I haven't seen that yet, though. I watched Ghost in a Shell when I was like a kid, so I've seen it, but I don't really remember what it was about. Like, I'm sure it has a lot more that I just didn't pick up on as a kid. I know it was a huge influence for the Matrix series. Like, the Wachowski twins or whatever have said like Ghost in a Shell was a huge inspiration when they made the Matrix. Which doesn't line up with what I remember Ghost in the Shell being. So I feel like I can't really talk about Ghost in the Shell.
Well, we'll have to do our homework when we get back to it.
Well, it's on Netflix now, the live action.
Yeah, the live action, but also the anime itself as well. We'll have to check that out. My favorite, I really did like the costume design. One of the things that I actually thoroughly enjoyed is if you notice in the cutscene where they're having the lovey-dovey moment, her and Hugo, and she's like, he like touches her hands and stuff. You can kind of see like rubber, like tendons on her fingers, and it kind of made sense of like if I don't know, maybe it's like a type of rubber where like if you put an electric pulse to it, it tenses or something like that.
She had sense receptors.
Yeah, sense receptors. What's that?
Nanotechnology or whatever. Yeah,
those damn
it's beyond us. We don't know.
Shit, man. Like tiny robots.
Yeah.
I only know regular size robots.
Yeah, and it like subconsciously morphed to her subconscious idea of her body, and like she didn't give herself big titties. Like, all right.
Yeah, immediately in the film when I see that, I'm just like, of course.
Yeah.
The other costume that I really enjoyed was the Pan's. I'm a sucker for Aztec and Mayan mythology. I studied it a bit in primary school. So to see the Montezuma's calendar on his back,
it's
that
cute.
was intense. I was just like, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome looking. And even like the throwaway characters that were the other bounty hunters, like they all had super interesting, like there was Screwhead and the guy that was like a spider and his head was like down from the rest of his body. Yeah,
and then there was DK himself from Tokyo Drift, and then you had the cowboy with the hellhounds, which came to be our favorite because you watch him and you're like, oh, he's got scary robot eyes. And then the dog comes in.
We love him.
Yeah, and that he definitely stole the show, especially with that one line of he's definitely not a dog lover.
Yeah, he wasn't a dog lover. I hate that.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
saying, bitch, me too.
Exactly, yeah. So pretty much overall impressions, we thoroughly enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
Really good setting, really good world building. Definitely looking forward to a very possible sequel.
Oh, I'm so hyped for the sequel. If they don't make a sequel, I'm going to be so disappointed. Like, I reckon it'll get enough. It's got enough hype at the moment that at least the second movie will be made. I feel like they're aiming for a trilogy, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I see a lot of with a lot of those films. Sometimes you get like you get your Dracula Untold with Luke Evans
Yeah.
that like sets up this potential sequel to A
Yeah.
Monster World. Doesn't get set up. The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
Or the best example, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh my god!
Which
that is
obviously
just a terrible,
was supposed to be 3 books, or 3 books.
Yeah, 3 books.
And like, I mean, it opens with this beautiful title screen of like book 1, water, and like, bitch, we're not seeing the Earth book.
Definitely.
Like,
Even after like the first 10 minutes, and you're like, no.
Yeah, that was a notoriously bad one. Especially seeing as I grew up loving that show.
I'd say that's an example of them leaning too far into the serious type, not to the point where like not to where they're like leaning too far like into like an anime style. It was more or like more too realistic.
Yeah,
they were leaning more into like because the show itself is comedic.
Yeah,
it's meant
for kids. It's a kid show.
Exactly. So them going too far towards the whole like Fire Nation and killing people and like you've brought dishonor upon your family, and then not having that levity to the situation, especially with Avatar. Like in the cartoon, his first lines is, "Can I ask you a question? Will you go penguin sledding with me?"
Yeah,
like that's his first thing, straight up.
And like, they took themselves way, way, way too seriously. And like with Alita Battle Angel, they show you these things, and they're like, we know it's ridiculous, just go with it.
Yeah.
Whereas like Avatar, they were like, you believe it, right? Like they're waterbending and you believe it. Like seriously, it's
not
real.
CGI, bro.
And you're like, it's clearly not. Like get fucked. Like
Exactly. The Alita definitely it has its comedic moments too.
Yeah.
Especially like the orange bit at the start. She just bites straight into it. Just like, this is horrible. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's so cute. And and I really loved it. Like her character, I feel like there wasn't any weird jumpy like she changed halfway through. Like her character was pretty consistent. She was just like a good person.
Yeah.
But she wasn't like frustrating where it's like a Captain America or a Superman where they're just Boy Scout good. I mean, like obviously those people have grown as characters and the nuances, but like, I find myself frustrated with those characters, those character types when they're too moral and just like, obviously she's working for the greater good, so she's gonna like cut up people along the way. She's gonna bash some people, like
she's gonna beat some people and motorball.
Yeah, motorball, and she's a warrior hunter, so she's out there killing,
getting them bounties,
getting those bounties.
So, is there anything in this film that you want to see in the sequel? Any questions that were left unanswered? Anything that you want extra built upon, like any like characters or anything, or any landmarks or anything?
Well, I strongly predict they're going to kill off the dad in the next one, the Dr. Ido, because I mean his arc is done. I predicted they'd kill him off in the first movie, to be honest.
And this is us talking about we're talking from an unknown perspective.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen the
anime, so we don't know what happens in the anime.
But like, I mean, he explained his backstory of like his daughter, and she got killed by like a criminal. So now he's a hunter warrior, and he kills the criminals for the bounties, and then he uses the money to keep his practice going so he can build people robot bodies, cyborg parts, and then obviously he finds a leader, and it's like his daughter all over again, and he wants to look after her, and then obviously she becomes her own person. He's not her dad. And I mean, there's a cute bit at the end where she's like, thanks, dad, or father, or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay.
Ah, shit.
Gross, daddy. But, yeah, his arc was pretty much done. Like, he'd seen her, like, come back. And I think I don't really know where they're going to go with the character after that, is what I'm trying to say. Like, he's kind of done his part. Who else? Like, they kind of killed off a lot of the main characters.
They did kill off quite a few.
They killed off Hugo, the main one.
They killed off...
Chiron.
Yeah, Chiron. What was his name? Mahasala's character. I'm actually what I'm looking forward to is a bit more world building in the sense of the what was their motivation for the war?
Yeah. Well,
What are there still more out there? Will we potentially see like a team up with her or someone else? Will it turn out that they were actually in the wrong? And it turns out that the Earth or the Sky Cities were actually in the right.
well, I feel like they'd probably not, because Nova runs them and he's that immortal. But yeah, it's like, because pretty much the premise we have is that, obviously we automatically side with the Earthlings because we are Earthlings. And then the story tells us that these people from Mars have come and attacked and nuked the whole place. So you sort of automatically assume them to be the enemy. And then they try to explain throughout the movie that, like, Nova's the bad guy, like they're just out here trying to kill Nova, and you see Nova do some pretty shady things, so you're like, oh, he's probably worth killing, like maybe that were right. But we don't really know that much about them. She's the only we see. We see an ship that she instinctively knows how to use, and in flashbacks it cuts to, like, I think she said she was battling on the moon.
Yeah. Well, I think there's three things that I personally observed that are to note, and it's that from everything we've seen, that have come to Earth, and then secondly, we know that Dr. Ido and his wife were kicked off because their daughter was handicapped, and then thirdly, the only character we've actually seen up in the Sky City is Nova. Nova, that's it.
Yeah.
I get the names crossed up in my head. I'm so terrible with names. But yeah, those are the only three things. And so if they really want to add an extra twist or anything, they can easily just twist some sort of a part of the story of it and change it.
Well, I get very like Hunger Games vibes from what was it called? The floating place, like upstairs where they all want to go. It's very like the capital
city,
where like it seems so glamorous and beautiful, but it's very dark and evil, and people are very
judgmental.
Twisted, like that's not a good place. So
but I'm definitely eager to see a sequel.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of MID, and Tashana Gillies, thank you for being my co-host this time.
No worries.
You don't have to put up with Ethan's boring old face on this for another time. Now, for the listeners and the viewers, we're going to end it here. But if you would like to see more of any post show or anything, you can join in on us on twitch.tv/ScrambledPixelsNetwork. And for those viewers, we will say good night.